Here we are going to learn how to add a node to a queue. All right, so we have a basic setup for our queue. All right, it's going to take in our 3 properties, and for adding a queue, it is equivalent to push, but in the case of queues, it's common convention to call it Enqueue. All right, so but it's the same concept as pushing, adding something to a queue. All right, so this is going to take in a value as an argument, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off by creating a new node. And pass in that value. All right, so now that we have a new node created here, the next step is we're going to have a condition, and we're going to check if the length is equal to 0, make the new node the first and new node the last, because obviously it's the first one in the queue, so it makes sense to make it the first and the last. So if this dot length is equal to 0, then this dot first equals the new node, and this dot last is the new node. All right, else this means that we have more than one item in, or more than one node inside our queue. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the last node point to the new node. Okay, so we're going to make the last node. So we're going to check this dot last and have its next property point to the new node. All right, because it's kind of like as if, let's say here to start off with, we have a node, or we have our queue with the first node, which is 10, and then we're trying to enter another node, and so we have this is considered the last node, so last and first node, so we want it to point to the new node, which, let's say the new node that we want to push in is 20. All right, so that's what we're doing here, is we're making the last node's next property, so the next is kind of like the pointer to point to the new node, which is, in this case, it's 20. All right, so next is make the new node the last node. All right, so now this is the new node that was inserted, so this right here would not be considered the last node anymore. It would be the newly inserted node right here. So that's what we're going to do here, is going to say the new node is, or I should say this dot last is the new node. All right, so this now makes this the last node. All right, now that that's done, the final step is to increment the length and return it. So we're going to return plus this dot length. All right, and the reason why we're doing this is because typically in like push methods for your programming languages, like in JavaScript, what it returns is the length of the new length of something. Okay, so in this case, we're going to return the new length of this queue. All right, so let's go ahead and test this out now. Let's go ahead and run this code, and let's start off by doing queue.enqueue, and let's do this 10 here like we did in the diagram. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then actually, you know what? No, what we're going to do is we're going to do it like this. We're going to do it here. All right, so we're going to do queue and then 10. And then you see we get the length of 1. All right, this is the length of 1. So now what if we add another item, say that 20? See, now we get a length of 2. So in reality, it should be, it's like this. Now what if we did enqueue, say, of 55? Enter, we get a length of 3, and then this should now be like this, 55. All right, let's go ahead and do a little further investigation here, and let's actually see how the queue looks. So if we look here at the queue, you see that it's showing that the first that the first one in line is the node with the 10, which indeed it's here. And it's saying that the last node in line is the one with 55, which indeed it is. If we expand this first node, it's showing that it's pointing to a node with 20. All right, so the 10 is pointing to 20. And if we expand to 20, it should point to 55. Let's go ahead and expand the next. And you see here, it has a node pointing to 55, and the 55 is last, so its next pointer should point to null. And as you can see here, indeed, it's pointing to null. All right, so that we took care of an Enqueue method for a queue.